Good day and welcome to the world of Deborah. And yes, this is Deborah Sweet and welcome to Trailblazing TV. I am super excited to be here with you today. So first of all, once again, as always, thank you so much for setting a few minutes aside for you. That's a really big deal. And I encourage you to acknowledge that gift of the fact that you have invested time for you here today. So we're going to dive right in. I've been doing a micro series here the last few days, and today we're going to talk about discovering the facets of you. What is it? Why does it matter? And so I encourage you, if you have to, grab a little notepad. If you're driving and listening to this, just you can catch the replay. But I would love to, first and foremost, say hello to all of you. So make sure you pop in, say hello, let me know who you are, where you're from. I find that intriguing. I love to connect with people all over. And let me then just give a quick overview. If you're joining in and visiting for the first time today, what I've been talking about the last couple of days has actually been some insights that came out of a workshop that I did live. It was a live half-day workshop last week that I held, and it was called Brand You. And there was so much interest and so much intrigue around what it was that we were talking about that I wanted to share here with you today, some snippets of what we experienced last week. Because my friend, you're at a place right now, I know this, if you're in my world, this is not coincidence. We are uniquely, divinely designed to have come together. And I have always held to the belief system that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I've been on quite a journey, and so part of my journey is to help share, inspire, lead, to help encourage and empower you to step into the next version of yourself. And that's actually tied right into what we're going to talk about today. I do work with people in business. You are either running a business, you're starting a business, you're thinking about starting a business. Maybe you're at the end of a corporate career and you're ready to become that new entrepreneur, and you're wanting to do things in a different way, right? And so the backbone of who I am is I help businesses get business and make money, and we do it very efficiently, very effectively. But I also have been like, I know I was born to lead leaders. I lead leaders, and you are a leader in your life. You are a leader in your business. So let's talk about the facets of you. So it's a very interesting concept. And so let me give you a little story here. I want to go back. I'm thinking to about when I was 14. I'm thinking 14, 15. I don't think I was 15. I think I was about 14. So imagine that it's July, it's August, it's hot, it's summer, it's humid. And one of the things that I was doing for my summer this one special year is that my parents had built the house that was the main house that I grew up in. And so in the Midwest, it's hot, it's sticky, it's buggy, it's muggy. You take a shower and you get outside, and the first thing you do as soon as you step out of the shower is that there's sweat dripping down. It's that kind of hot and sweaty, right? So this one particular year, I was a little ways after we had built this house, but in the process of building the house, what needed to take place was that some excavators came in and they dug up a lot of dirt. They've dug a hole in the ground that space then became our basement and our crawl space. Well, what they did with the dirt is they put that dirt up in the back part of our backyard. So I want you to imagine, I'm 5'3" and a quarter inch. So I hit my vertical height when I was in 6th grade. So I vividly remember that this mound of dirt, this pile of dirt, it was so big, it could fill a good bedroom. It was more than double my height and really, really wide. So this one particular summer, my mom loves gardening, and I got a very interesting job. And my job was to go into that big pile of dirt that was in our backyard and dig out all the rocks. Yes, there was rocks. And I'm talking rocks about the baseball size, some rocks about golf ball size, but most of the rocks that were in there were more like soccer ball, football size, bowling ball size, right? Some were bigger. And my job was to dig through this massive pile of dirt and dig out as many rocks as I could, put them in the wheelbarrow, and take them to different stations around our yard. Now, when you understand that my parents had about 5 acres of yard, this is a lot of yard, and that was a lot of rocks. So I totally was not thrilled with this job. Just trust me, I did not want to do it. But in my household at that time, it was easier to just do what mom wanted because it made life go by a little bit more smoothly. And so what was interesting in that moment, right? Here I am, I'm wanting to play and do things that are a little bit more fun with my friends, but instead I've been given this job to dig through this dirt and pull out all these rocks and wheelbarrow them around this yard, being hot, sticky, muggy. And in my head, right, I had these stories. I had this little conversation going on in my head. I did not want to do it, but I made a choice. I made a choice besides just do it. It was, what was I going to do while I was digging all those rocks? Because, friend, this was not a one-day job. This was a multiple day, multiple week kind of job. This pile was huge, right? So why this relates to the facets of you is that as I'm digging out all these rocks from the dirt, I'm touching, I'm feeling, I'm looking at these amazing specimens that I was unearthing literally from this massive pile of dirt. So in that time, you know, in the time where I'm going through something that I really didn't want to go through, it wasn't the most fun, what I was able to see was the beauty and the individuality and the uniqueness with all these different rocks coming out of the ground. Now, this property in the Midwest, I don't know how much, you know, what history you were taught, but in the Midwest, this was part what we've been taught is that this is part of the world where when glaciers came, the glaciers came through these big, you know, the big ice rivers came through, and it made lots of hills and lots of hills and valleys. And so in parts of the Midwest, it's very lush. And what that means is that there's this massive variety in the types of rocks and stones and things that are where I grew up. So what was coming out of the earth were different. I'm going to imagine. I know that there was like granite and like all these different types of rocks. I'm not going to remember them all right now. Okay, so fast forward for a moment because there's a point I'm getting to. Handling all these rocks and being aware of what my mindset was while I was endeavoring into something that I really didn't want to do. It was uncomfortable. It stretched my patience. Who here needs to grow in patience, right? It definitely stretched my patience. I just wanted to go out, you know, swim and bike and do that other stuff. But here I have a task to do, right? But in the thick of all of this, I discovered this really interesting fascination with rocks and stones. And so I will share with you the house that I live in here today. This is a little fast forward. When we moved in, I had no idea that somebody somewhere prior to us living in this home, somebody used to do lapidary. And I actually, when we moved in and I started getting familiar with our property, we had this little pile of rocks up in the backyard. Well, over time, as I'd go out there and as the kids would go out, because I'd let them go play in the rocks, right? What the kids unearthed was what we now call a river of rocks. So I've been able to have this interesting aspect of my life show up even here. And in between digging the rocks at my parents' house and, you know, digging in our backyard for rocks, I definitely jumped into the jewelry industry. You'll see that I still like bling, right? Because what's really interesting is that when you have different components and different elements that come together, and sometimes there is, you know, to form a rock, there's a lot of heat, there's a lot of pressure that is put into the earth that forms these very beautiful elements, right? And so what's really interesting this is, let me see if I can show you this. So rocks have a very interesting way of protecting themselves. So this is actually from my river of rock. This is actually a, looks like it's a citrine or it's a rose quartz, I'm not sure. But on the outside, this looks nice. It's kind of white, there's some lines through it, it's a little rough, it's a little dull, right? It's matte. And it's the outer protective shell from this rock. But when you turn it over, now this one's uncut, you can see that as I move this in the light, you can see some of the sparkle and the gleam, and you see the beauty inside. Now with proper lapidary, it can turn into something that's even more beautiful that can go into jewelry. This is another one. This is a crystal. Okay, so I'm just giving you a quick visual here. So you can see this one's real smooth. It's all uncut. But even with that, there's some protective elements on the outside. So what does this have to do with you? Why am I talking about rocks when the subject of today is about the facets of you? Well, when we are growing through our life and we are learning to build our business, and more specifically, you're learning how to brand yourself in life, you're branding yourself to serve and commit and move into, maybe you're doing social entrepreneurship, you want to do charity work, or you're branding yourself in a department or for your next job. Oftentimes what we've been taught, and if you've listened into any of the last couple of teachings that I've done, I talk about disconnect, but what we've been taught is to show up one-dimensional, right? We show up kind of one-dimensional, just like this rock. We present ourselves in a way that is, we think we have to fit into the norm of that of what we're seeking to do. And, you know, in certain places, certain cases, that actually serves a purpose. Like when you're going into the military, yes, they're going to transform you and mold you so that you're not a one-dimensional human being, but you are so aligned with everybody else that you work as a unit, right? So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you over compartmentalizing, over hiding yourself, staying disconnected to the multiple facets of who you are, and allowing your true essence, your true personality to shine through. So I want to pause here for a moment to encourage you to really consider that. When you are at work, when you're doing something for play, right, for fun, when you are at rest and relaxation mode, and when you come home at the end of the day, are you fully engaging you? Or do you feel the shift in your personality? Do you feel the shift and sense the change in your behavior, your language? Like, what's that energy that you bring into those different spaces? Are they all aligned and consistent? Or do you feel that maybe you're putting on a different mask? You're putting on a different persona in those moments. Anybody relate to that? And I do want to give a quick shout out to those of you who have joined in. So I encourage you also, please let me know where you're coming from. I want to say hello to Jennifer, and hi Stan, hi Anthony, hi Wendy, hi Kenny, hi Julie, thanks for being here. So getting back to the facets of you. I know for myself, and I've shared some of my stories, right? As I was growing up, there was this person that I always felt called to be, and yet there's this person that I saw through my choices that I allowed myself to become. All the while, the person that I felt called to be wasn't truly showing up all the time in me being me, leading myself in life and in business. And I've been on quite a journey, a personal journey and a professional journey to dismantle the walls that cause compartmentalization. I've been doing things to bridge the gap of disconnect, to heal the components of me that got hurt and fractured along the way that prevented me from fully sharing all of me. So anybody here can, like, let me know if this is resonating with you, right? How many times have you wanted to do something in your business, or you want to do something personally, and you're like, yeah, the heart really calls you to do it, and then the head gets involved and goes, oh, but I can't because, oh, I shouldn't because, oh, Nope, I can't because. So there's the shouldn't, wouldn't, couldn't. We call it the big butt syndrome too, right? So this is where, friend, if you are feeling this, you're experiencing this between what you want to do because you have passion, you have excitement, you're interested in it, but then you second guess and you hold yourself back. That is an aspect, like in this little stone right here. That's an aspect where you're hiding a facet of you, right? You're hiding a component of you. Now, yesterday, I shared and taught a lot about what happens when we hide our money story, right? When we compress and we repress and we step back because we've had these filters that have filled our heads they're dirty, they're messy, they're mucky, right? When we're talking about the facets of you, this is where it's time for you to shine, for you to be a brand and to brand yourself and live your brand personally and professionally. And what I'm talking about is like all of the beauty of you, all of the facets of you being carefully fine-tuned and carefully chosen so that what is the masterpiece that is on display, like a diamond, right? A diamond is very carefully chosen and selected, and there are definitely nuances in the color, the cut, the shape, just like there are nuances with us as humans. But when you have that diamond that started out as raw components, sometimes there's a lot of pressure. Well, with a diamond, there's always pressure to form the raw material, and then you have a master craftsman that helps to work with the rough material to then develop a masterpiece, right? And it's a masterpiece that has value, that deserves to be displayed just as you are. And so when you're talking about, and I'm talking about, honoring the facets of you, this is that time in your life. Like if you're here with me today and this is pinging in your heart, where what you're reflecting upon and you're feeling, you can recall, yes, I love to do this. Maybe it's you love to paint. Maybe it's that you love to go hiking. Maybe you love to read stories to young children. Maybe it's that you're loving, in work, right? You just love talking to your customers, but you don't like doing all the paperwork. Maybe is that you love selling, but you don't like doing all the fulfillment, right? So whatever it is, these areas that your heart yearns to do, whether you did them before and set them aside, or you have created, some people call it a bucket list. I call it my will do action steps, right? My will do list. If you've been allowing yourself to stay compressed and stay under the dirt, to stay hidden, the world needs you. The world needs you. It's your time to come on out. And when we're talking about building your brand for business, this is where allowing you to fully express who you are so that it's consistent, it shines bright and beautiful is really important. Because when you're growing a business, there are different components that you get into that all businesses need to be sustainable, to be thriving. And I've given this analogy before. I call it the core four. So the core four, if you envision for a second, a stool, right? A big old solid, like a bar stool, a stool that you're going to sit on, and it has four legs. One leg is very solid. It's very sturdy. All of them are actually, but it's all business systems, process, and procedure. It's how we operate in business, right? And then there's another leg that's all about leadership. And you're the leader. You have to lead yourself first before you can lead anybody else. Then there's another leg that is all about marketing. And then there is another leg that is all about sales. And the top part, the seat of the stool, this is where that seat is designed to hold space. It holds space for your next client. It holds space for your money, right? The money to be received, the money to be exchanged. But through all of that, when you're building that stool that is supporting your business, right? Whether it's the business that you work at and you're in charge of a job, a task, a job, a department, people, or you are the owner, you want those legs to be stable and solid. I want to give a quick shout out. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for being here. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Janie. So you want this stool to be solid, right? And this is your opportunity to build that support stool for you. So that means bringing you into the picture, expressing what you like, what you don't like, what are the nuances of you, what are the nuances of your preferences, because when you are working with people, when you are working in a business, when you are building a product, and you're just leading yourself, when you are fully expressed, right, you allow the fullness of your personality to shine through. What you're really doing is bridging the biggest gap that prevents people from achieving success. And that is bridging the gap of disconnect, right? And so now when you're in that space of leading at work, leading your marketing, maybe you're leading the people that are going to do marketing for you, that person doing your marketing can develop content, materials, tools that can tell, they can bring systems and what you need to use. But the missing component that engages your next best client is coming from you. It's your heart. It's the nuances of your personality. It is expressing fully you, because we choose to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. And if you are hiding yourself, right, you're not fully expressing all the facets of you at home, at work, at play, at rest, and you're expecting other activities that you're in charge of, or you're involved in, or you're outsourcing to perform, but you are holding yourself back with your essence, your beliefs, your attitude, there's going to be always this gap, and you won't understand, why does my marketing not work? Why is my sales system not work? I have a sales presentation. Why isn't it working? It's because at the core, we are on the human level. We do not choose to say yes to somebody from a logical place. We choose from an emotional place. We will logically decide certain factors, but it is a vibrational energy that connects us with other people, that makes it feel right, that makes it that space where we are comfortable as a customer, and you should be comfortable with that person who's in charge. So I'm going to give a shout out here. Hi, Ellie. Thanks for being here today. So to kind of wrap up for today's live, right? I want to invite you, and I want to encourage you to really sit with the information I've been sharing. When I'm talking about you fully expressing the facets of you, right? The passions that you're interested in, the hobbies that you do, right? These are all things, whether, or what's that commitment, what's that vision, what's that goal that you want to achieve at work? Whatever it is that moves you and excites you, is that fully showing in all areas of your life? Like when you show up to work, do people at work, either your colleagues, your clients, do they know what motivates you the most about what you do? Do you have a personal charitable cause, something that you're doing that's outside of the scope of just making money, that your people know? Do your clients know you that intimately? Do you have that relationship with them? When you show up with friends and you're going out to do fun things, do your friends know what it is that you're doing at work? Do they know what it is that's motivating you to do what you do? When you come home, does your family know what's motivating you, what the desires of your heart are, so that they can be a support mechanism for you? And when you're at rest, first of all, do you give yourself rest? If not, you deserve to. It's very important. But when you're at rest, what are you doing at rest that is going to help nurture and nourish and enhance and help support you, so that when you show back up again at life, at work, at rest, at play, that you are fully consistent? Hey, Brenda. Hey, Rob. Thanks for being here today. So I want to give a quick distinction. There is something that's different. Like a lot of people say to me, they're like, Deborah, you're good at everything you do. And I'm always quick with the exact same response. I'm really not. I suck at a lot of stuff. Okay, trust me. There's a lot of things I'm really, really bad at. But what is part of, yay, I got laugh. Okay, so I am funny. Yay, I try. So with that, why am I telling you this? Because what is consistent with me expressing the facets of me, you just get to see the stuff that I have deep passion in, I've invested deeply into, and I'm good at, right? Now, does that prevent me from trying other things? No. I just know really quick, yeah, I'm not so good at this. This is not where I need to be. So that what and what that allows me to do, and I'm sharing this because this might be you too, right? Is that as we're continuing on our journey for ourselves and in our business, sometimes, you know, we can have fun trying new things. That's the beauty of life. There's a lot of stuff to do, right? But just because, and let me give a declaration here. So when you try something, if you try something new and you're not good at it the first time, but it's burning in your heart to want to do it, okay, that's a passion. And everybody starts out at the beginning. We all start out as kindergartner novices, right? And that's the way it's supposed to be, because part of the growth journey is in that process of learning. But there is a distinction between trying something and not hitting a home run from step one, right? That's okay. That's not the norm. We start out, we go to Pee Wee League, and then we work our way up in the different ball games, right? Before we can hit the home runs. Versus there's just other things that maybe stress me, and no matter how much I learn and how much I try, it constricts me. So I'll just share, like, one of the things that I'm good at but I don't like doing, and I will not say I'm the best at, is being my own secretary and you know, taking care of some types of paperwork. That just does not thrill me. Doesn't mean that I'm not good at it. It just means I don't have passion at it, right? Are there people that are better at it than me? Yes, absolutely. Okay, so enough about me, and let's get back to you so we can wrap this up. So when you are looking at how do you express the facets of you, personally, professionally, at home, at rest, at play, and what have you hidden? What have you allowed to stay hidden? What did you put on the back burner, right? Maybe what you put on that back burner, maybe it's the very thing that you've been a little too intimidated to tell people that you really have an interest in, but it really burns deep in your heart. My friend, that could be the catalyst to propel you in business in a totally different way. And part of that growth opportunity, this is a tip right here, is in our growth is the willingness to be transparent, right? Now, I'm not talking about being a drama victim and a drama queen or playing victim, but there are times in our life as we're growing and we're leading our business when we are fine-tuning our facets, right? We're fine-tuning where the elements that I want to bring to the fullness, I want to share fully, that there are times where in our leadership journey, learning how to express fully with transparency and authenticity, that is a skill set that can be learned, and it is a value added aspect about the human element that will allow people to connect with you. So if you have a passion, you have a desire, but you're not doing it, you're not sharing it, and maybe some of your marketing isn't working, you can bridge the gap by bringing in some of these personal private elements, and you have now a brand new tool, a new resource. You have something that will thrill you and motivate you to connect with people on a totally different level. So with that, I'm going to wrap for today and just leave you to contemplate on that last idea, because there's some real power behind what I just laid on the table. So I encourage you to pick it up, embrace it, absorb it, think about it. And then if you'd like to know more, I'm actually going to do a webinar this afternoon, and I invite you to invest a little bit more time with me. I'm going to give a whole different perspective of the brand you, and I'm going to roll through these 3 core elements that I've been alluding to the last few days. 1, it's all about bridging the gap of disconnect. 2, it's all about looking at your money stories from another perspective And 3, we're gonna lean back in to this aspect of the facets of you, and we're gonna tie this all together. And I am gonna invite you to engage in a program with me that I'm launching tomorrow morning. Where it's going live. It's a 4-week. It's a micro program. It's a fast track program called Brand You. So if you're really looking to take your business to a whole new level, but you are wanting to get some clarity in how to brand yourself, how to live your brand, be with me today for the webinar. And then I also invite you to look into being with me in this program that we're starting tomorrow morning. So in closing, remember this: you're absolutely amazing. You're here for a reason. This is not coincidence. I encourage you, allow yourself to start to fully express more facets of you. It's a game changer when you do. I invite you to step into your power, feel what peace is really like. Say yes to you and being joyful. And remember, rock on, and I'll see you real soon. Thanks. Bye.